Nestled in the rustic city of Cabuyao Laguna is a resort that is more than just for recreation. It is a place where some people find healing purpose in life when they have seemingly reached the dusk of hope. This is One Algon Place, a temporary shelter that helps substance dependents and people with mental health struggles find new life. One Algon Place is an organization that operates an assessment and treatment center in a well-equipped residential facility. It runs the Academy of Hope, which was developed in 2008 as the educational arm of the clinical services offered by One Algon Place. But how does it differ from other substance abuse rehabilitation centers and mental health facilities? It values education and self-empowerment more than just medical intervention. The Academy of Hope runs a twofold program: School of Life and School of Soul. School of Life caters to students who have been diagnosed with psychosis and cognitive and developmental disabilities. Through the program, they are empowered to survival and excellence and taught how to cope with the demands of society. School of Soul aims to help those who struggle with handling problems, relationships, and life choices. The school particularly caters to those who have a basic stress substance and non-substance dependency disorders and mood and anxiety disorders. Both programs have the same goal: help people face their challenges, ensure their mental well-being, and succeed. TikTok, online radio live. Embrace life and love.
Have this feeling, haven't felt for so long.
Let's talk about our journey, learning its challenges and realities. Let's talk about goals and dreams, and realize together how colorful life can be. Let's talk about love and understand its nature. Let's talk about growth and share ways to cope. Let's talk about life and see the bigger picture. Let's talk about the world, learn fair knowledge and good judgment. Join us on TikTok, an online radio program, always live, at Facebook and YouTube.
Hello!
Good
Magandang
evening.
hapon po sa inyo lahat. Hello, Sally. Good evening.
Hello,
We're
good
back.
evening sa ating lahat.
Yes.
So we're back in our third episode this December. So we have a very nice topic tonight.
Yes.
And also we have three guests to help us explain our topic, which is how peace in the world begins at home.
Yes. Pero
And last
Sally,
month,
balikan mo
yes.
yan. Balikan natin. Yes.
Oo. Last month, we also have a very lively discussion, and it's how rating your marriage the right way can make you a happier wife. Oo. So we discuss about enjoying the flowers and not the weeds. Okay, so we propose that to be a happier wife, you need to rate your marriage so you can assess your marriage as is now. So merong desperately unhappy, very unhappy, mediocre, may happy, very happy, or extremely unhappy. And I shared my journey Those were may mga times na parang you're very unhappy and you realize ikaw pala ang dahilan and not the other person, no? Not your husband, but it's you because you have to also check on bakit ka hindi masaya. And it's all because most often you didn't realize you are making, you are a weed and you don't have the flowers with you anymore. Kaya ang ganda ng discussion natin last time.
Oo, ayan, no? Tingnan mo. Are you enjoying flowers or weeds? Yan ang binanggit ni Sally. Yan, thank you.
Yes.
So tonight, ang ating pong topic is parang pang Miss Universe eh, di ba? World peace. So how peace in the world actually begins at home. Hindi siya nagsisimula sa labas, no, sa mundo, kundi dito, no, sa bahay. So tonight we are going to talk about and focus on a famous quotation by Miss Helen Andelin, the author of Fascinating Womanhood. This is very important. Why? Because she proposes the solution to most of our problems. So ito yung sabi niya. So yan, itong sabi niya. A loving marriage is the foundation of a happy family. And a happy family is the foundation of a stable society. Most of the problems in this world stem from troubled homes. If we are to have peace in the world, saan tayo magsisimula? We must begin at home. That is why tonight we're going to attempt to answer two questions. Ano yung dalawang tanong na yon? Does peace in the world really begin at home? How? Yan.
Okay.
Sally, basahin mo
So,
nga ulit yung tanong natin.
does peace in the world really begin at home? How?
Oh, yan.
Ito yung tanong. So that, Palou, i-introduce ko na yung guests natin.
Sige, go. Go na tayo.
Okay,
Exciting
so-
to eh.
Yes, stay with us. We have 3 special guests who will help us all understand better how peace in the world begins at home. Okay, sit back and enjoy our exchange of ideas and sharing of experiences. And yes, first is I would like to introduce a friend na kahit hindi kami madalas nagkikita sa Facebook, thank you sa Facebook, nagkakakumustahan. So, friends, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Mitz Marinas. She is a psychiatrist and she is also very active sa mental health advocacy namin. Nakikita ko siya madalas sa mga meeting. So, later she will share with us her thoughts, her ideas on how peace in the world begins at home. Her experience as a psychiatrist dealing with women with problems, family problems. So makakatulong siya sa atin to really make this evening topic very interesting.
Okay, ang susunod naman natin ay kamag-anak ni Sally. Anak siya ni Sally. Okay? So she is also a medical doctor of a healthcare facility. Pero tonight, she'll be joining us to share her views as a wife and a mother of 2 boys. She is Dr. Saren Bongalonta Roldan. She is the eldest daughter of Sally. Welcome, Dr. Saren. Yan. And,
Welcome, anak.
yeah, welcome anak ka, di ba? Ito naman, our third guest is a friend of mine. Siguro 2 years ko na siyang kilala kasi we met when we were studying the family life education at the University of Asia in the Pacific. She's a former flight crew or stewardess who's been married to a pilot for 26 years now. Alam niyo, they did not have children for 4 years. Kaya she prayed to the Lord na bigyan siya ng anak. Alam mo, sagot ng Diyos? 7 anak ang ibinigay sa kanya. So today, she gives all her time to raising a family. Later, we will find out, meron siyang vision para sa kanyang 9 na kapamilya. So, that's Lara Camacho. So,
Okay.
let's welcome all our 3 guests.
Yes.
Yan.
Welcome sa inyong lahat. And thank you for being with us tonight. Okay.
Yan.
So we're now in our discussing our topic. Most of the problems in this world stem from troubled homes. Let us watch this video to help us understand what a troubled home looks like and what some of the problems are.
Yan. Ito po ay
O, late ka na yata nakauwi kagabi.
Ilang beses ka ba dapat pagsabihan?
Ang hirap sa'yo, parang hindi importante ang mga sinasabi namin. Kaya binabaliwala mo! Paulit-ulit namin sinasabi sa'yo, hindi ka ba nakikinig?
Yan. Naalala niyo to? This is a thanks to Lucky Me Noodles, no? Ito ay commercial nila at sinabi nila 3 out of 4 teenagers prefer not to eat with the family already. Because nga yung mga ganong sitwasyon. So ito ang unang tanong natin. Let's begin with Doc Mitch. Doc Mitch, what for you is a troubled home? Doon sa nakita ba natin sa commercial, is that a troubled home? I mean, based on your own experience and also, and sa work din, what are the problems that stem from these troubled homes?
Okay. Well, it's kind of a little bit difficult to define exactly what a troubled home means. Kasi iba-iba naman kasi yung intensity. Of course, there will always be conflict. In a family, there are so many members, and there are different personalities, of course, and ways of coping. And there's what we call the family dynamics. So, iba-iba yung response nila to everyone, to each and every member. I guess we can say it's troubled already or pathologic in our terms. When the relationship is already in a way negatively affected by that dynamics. When pathologies start to arise, what do we mean by that? Sometimes we say that when we have a patient, for example, sometimes we say that the patient is only the identified patient, but the real problem is probably stemming from somewhere else, like the family dynamics. So, yun yung, that's what we term as maybe a troubled home. If there is trouble brewing in the relationship, the dynamics, the relationship of the family is causing trouble that one or two or several members are already manifesting with symptoms of pathologies like depression or anxiety or even addiction. So yun yung maybe that's how we can say it's coming from a troubled home. So the family dynamics is very much at the center of it, where there's something really wrong that's going on with the family relationships.
Doc Mitch, doon sa nakita mo, ano yung wrong doon sa nangyayari during dinner time?
Okay. Well, of course, what was very obvious is the reaction of the dad, di ba? Na parang the teenager was sullen, quiet, as much, which is what most teenagers are actually like. And then the father starts to berate him. Almost parang relentlessly, 'di ba? Parang one question after the other without allowing the child to explain himself. Parang agad it's an attack mode na kaagad. So that was very apparent, and that happens a lot na parang one member of the family is thought to have a problem and is attacked by another member of the family and relentlessly in the way that it was shown. And in doing so, it doesn't fix things. It actually makes conflict, complicates the conflict more. So it makes the child, as was very much shown, it was illustrated, more distant. It made the child more distant. That response made the child more distant. So yung family dynamics play in that very powerful scene actually.
Oo, ang ganda, di ba? At talagang nakita mo physically lumayo.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
yun ang maganda na very visual kasi when you present it, di
Mm.
ba? So, thank you, Doc Mitch. Sally, may tatanong ka?
Yes, oo. Kasi very ano yan, yung pinalabas natin na video, it's somehow very real in most homes these days, no? And without realizing talagang how can we have peace in the world if in the homes there's no peace. So yun yung challenge for us. Like understanding womanhood is really challenging us to see the important role of mothers, of women, uh, the role that we play in making the house a home. I remember a family therapist, Doc Mitz, that says, si Virginia Satir, she said, heal the family and heal the world. Ang hirap kasi I also had that experience yung Saren can siguro say na, oo mami, ang gulo din natin, di ba? When we were growing up, sometimes ngayon sinasabi nila, yung si mami ganito noon eh. Kasi I was working. And so it really boils down to understanding, no? Saan ka ba naging saan ka naging remiss in your role? Because it's always really, if you want to have peace, it has to begin with you, and it has to really exude sa family, no? Kasi paano ka magkakaroon ng peace if you yourself don't have that peace? So talagang mahirap gawin, lalo na ngayon, with the lifestyle of families, of yung mga parents, normally they have no more time for the children. So talagang ang problema ng mga psychiatrists, Dr. Mitz, talagang napakalaki. So we just hope na we realize na nasa sa atin talaga yung key, no? If only we can pause for a while and see kung paano just with that video, saan tayo pwedeng magsimula, no? Saan tayo pwedeng magsimula? Maybe we can also hear from other guests yung naging experiences din nila.
Sige, si Doc Saren, kasi you have 2 boys. Teenagers pa sila? Saren, unmute ka.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I have one teenager, 14 na siya, years old, and then I have a 10-year-old boy, both boys. So, kanina you asked po, tita, no, na with regards to the video, it was really, actually, naalala ko when I was a teenager, si mami sabi ko, sure ka ha? Ako talaga yung gusto mo ha?
Oo, di ba?
Laglagan to, hindi. Pero
Ganun talaga eh.
oo. What's a troubled home sa akin if there's no peace sa bahay? Kasi sabi nga ni Doc Mitch, palagi naman talagang merong alitan or something na hindi kayo magkakaintindihan. Pero it doesn't mean that the peace is already disrupted. Pag yung peace na talaga or talagang malalim na yung galit nyo sa isa't isa, that's when the trouble comes in. And usually sa akin, lalo na sa mga boys ko, I make it a point, even though they're still young, that we communicate sa kanila. Kasi ako, I believe na doon nag-uumpisa yung peace eh. Sometimes, di ba, when you text, ako, pagsasabi ko, pag nag-text ka ng, hey, pwede, the voice, pwedeng pagkabasa mo is galit, okay? Or pwede namang, hey, or masaya ka. So, it's actually how you understand or how you communicate with each other that makes it peaceful sa bahay. Yun yung sa akin na that's why I always tell my kids na, sige, when we, kahit nagagalit ako sa kanila, I always tell them, bakit nyo ginawa? Or I let them explain their side always. Hindi palaging, katulad nung dad, kasi I don't want to be like that eh. Didiining ko sila without even asking for their side or their explanation before I be the mom. Yeah.
So, Doc Saren, tanong ko lang, yung troubled home, did you ever experience at a point in your family life na sandali, we're in trouble? Hindi naman siya trouble, but we're in trouble. May ganun ka bang feeling noon or experience?
Yeah. There was a time in our life, sa akin na, lalo na ako
Oo.
yung panganay eh. I was the eldest, so I think my mom and my dad was like, ang ano nila sa akin, you have to be stronger than your sister. Okay? So, ako siguro, and there were a lot of problems at home, sa totoo lang. So, ang ano ko is, instead of, parang ayoko umuwi. There was a time na parang I'd rather go to my friends or I'd rather go out of the house kasi pagtingin ko pag sa bahay parang puro problema. That was when I didn't understand kasi nga hindi ko naiintindihan bakit ganito yung nangyayari sa bahay. During that time, wala pang nag-e-explain sa akin. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doc Saren. So mula doon, even with the experience of Doc Saren, so pwede talaga magkaroon ng anxiety, depression, at if pushed to the wall, pwedeng maging addiction, And it is not just drugs, right? It can be the food,
Yeah.
shopping, ano pa ba? Inom-inom, at kung ano-anong habits, di ba? O Lara, ikaw naman, anong dating sa'yo ng commercial? Troubled home ba yun? Naka-experience ka na ba ng troubled home sa sarili mong pamilya?
Actually, the commercial is so graphic.
Graphic.
When I saw it, I was moved to tears. And then I cannot help but say to my husband, you have to watch this. It is so, sabi ko, tignan mo to. Kasi parang, without words, without subtitles, you see how the child is, how bad the relationship is with the father, especially. And of course, when a teenager is growing up, I was telling my husband that my kids are so attached to me, were so attached to me from siguro mga 0 to 10. Formative years. And then after that, parang ayaw na nila sumama sa akin. It's more with the father. It's because I think the mother is more the one who is at home. In our case, I have 7 children. I stopped working in 1997. So ang tagal na. And the mother is the one who is at home. So nakaka-relate sila. And the father is somebody who is from outside and then he brings news from outside to the family. So now the children are growing up, they want to be out there. So it's the dad who is out there and they want to be with the dad now. Parang that's the way I see, no? Yung nga, yung relationship ng tatay at saka ng anak medyo madugo. to be in kasi saka dapat talaga nakita ko doon right away yung family meals is not the time to talk about problems. It's more the time with one another to really reminisce very good memories. I think ang maganda doon sa amin kasi ang dami namin. There are times talaga na may mga init na you will really feel the brew, yung parang merong boiling ganyan. And then dapat magaling magdala talaga yung magulang, the mother and the father. Going back to Saren, I'd like to say that tama. I saw some of the problems when we were already grown up. But when we were young, ang galing magdala. Meron palang mga you will discover later on in life that I will always remember how my father phrased it. Maiintindihan mo lang lahat pag meron ka ng sariling pamilya.
Yeah.
It was an eye-opener. Oo, something na napakinggan ko. Tapos ngayon may mga anak na ako, may pamilya na ako. Sabi ko, wow, how true that, what that's it.
So, yung mga problema bang ito, talaga, are these the same problems that we're experiencing in the world?
Yes.
Are these the same? Yung disrespect, distant relationship, yung paghirap ng bata sa magulang na relationship, ganun din ba siya paglabas niya, pagpunta sa school, pagpunta sa trabaho and sarili niyang pamilya? What do you think? How about you, Doc Mitch?
Well, yeah, it's a common theme. It's a common theme, certainly. And syempre, our parents, especially our mothers, are our first. They are our first relationships. So mommy becomes the prototype, or our maternal figures, or daddy, whoever is the closest to you. Your family is your primary unit. Eh. Before you go out and explore the world, um, sila yung core, sila yung base. They're your prototypes, basically. So if ever, whatever is the flavor of your relationship, whatever is the dynamics that you have with your parents, in later in life, these relationships are reenacted when you relate to other people. So sabi ko that's how important the family is. And when we do our history taking in psychiatry, actually, Doc Saren knows this as a medical student. Psychiatry as a subject, siya yung pinakaayaw ng students to do the history taking kasi we have that extra part wherein we delve on the relationships in the family and how the child was reared. And of course, med students hate that. You ask so many questions, tas dadagdag mo pa yon. But in psychiatry, I think it's very important. It does have a role. We ask that precisely because it helps us prognosticate. Na the problem is not just in the individual, and it's not only the individual that needs the healing. And in fact, that is incorporated in our treatment protocols. For example, in addiction treatment programs, there's always a family dialogue. It's impossible to go through the program without some sort of family dialogue included in the program. So that's how important it is. The family is the prototype. That's your first relationship. And that plays out. You can play that out and reenact that with other people. So if it's disintegrated na to begin with, then you carry that with you with the other relationship. It spills over to your other relationships.
So, ibig sabihin ba, tama ba na so the main problem, I think, I don't know if I'm right, is really relationships.
Yes.
Right? No, it really is the relationship. Na if it's troubled, then you can be depressed, anxious, and really get into addiction. Tama ba? Is it relationships?
Yeah, it's a very big factor, definitely. Whether it's your relationship with yourself, how you view yourself, how you view your relationships with the important people in your life. So that's a very big factor, certainly. Yes.
And it also has something to do, Palou, then with, in this I believe, ng role nga of the mother during the formative years of their children. Na it should not be left to the yaya, left to the TV, Ngayon, mga mothers, young mothers, bibigay na sa kanila yung mga cellphone ng mga batang-bata pa, mga baby pa, just to make sure na tumahimik sila. So bibigay sila ng cellphone. So napaka-importante for me, and these are the things na I would pass on to Saren. Kasi ito yung naging mali ko nung araw I prioritized my career and I left them to housemaids, At yung in their growing up years, yung values, talagang sino yung kinalakihan, sino yung nakakasama sa bahay, yun yung nakukuha nila. And you realize, bakit ka ganyan magsalita? Iba na pati nga minsan yung lingwahe ng yaya, nakukuha ng mga bata. And always nakikita ko na, Saren was correct. Kasi in our case, meron akong extended family. Kasama ko mga kapatid ko. So magulo sa amin. Kasi pakikisama, ganyan. And so I was really thankful when Saren was already yung sa college na, magpi-pre-med. Nagkaroon kami ng chance na mag-bonding kasi on our way to the office and sa school niya, magkasama na kami. So doon ako nagsimulang and realizations of fascinating womanhood. Doon ko nagsimulang mag-confess nag-confess ako sa anak ko on those things na kasi nga nagkaroon siya din ng tama siya. Medyo nagrebelde yan. Kasi I was a very strict mom. Parang akong dapat masunod. Ito dapat ang gawin. And unlike kay Dr. Mitch, she said na she was raised by a very strong woman. Ang mom niya is very strong, pero it pushed her to have a career while her father naman inculcated in her love for work. So, doon sa situation, family dynamics ni Doc Mitz, medyo yung pagiging strong woman ng kanyang mom, nakatulong sa kanya. Kinasaran, because nga ayun nga, may extended family kami, nagkaroon to ng medyo negative effects sa kanila kasi dito sa dalawa kong girls. Kasi meron nga kaming other members in the family na minsan feeling nila mas mahal ko kesa sa kanila. So, yung dynamics talagang medyo nagkaroon ng hindi magandang relationship dahil minsan papanig ka sa isa, tapos magiging jealous yung iba. So, nalalagay ka sa situation na paano ka magbabalance, no? But always, in here, nakita ko na I have so many learnings, all humble learnings na pinasun ko sa kanila, sa mga anak ko, na it made me realize na marami pala akong naging mali. Naging mali as a mom, kaya naging there's no peace in the home. Pero I realized also na tama din si Lara, no? When you're young, hindi mo nakikita mo palagi silang mali, ikaw ang tama. But when you become a mom, you realize na tama pala si mami, tama pala ang nanay ko, tama pala yung tatay ko. So always there are learnings, and in the process, nakikita mo na you have to change. Kasi talagang in our past episode, Palou said, before you can change others, you have to change first. So ito yung magandang realization na nakita ko, and it helped me to regain back peace in the home. At iba na kasi ngayon yung iba na din ngayon yung generation. Dati, isang salita lang ng nanay at ng tatay, ang mga anak makikinig na or matatakot na. Ngayon, kahit mandilat ka, lalo pa silang mag-ano sa'yo. Lalo pa ikaw ang ipoprovoke, no? So, iba na talaga ngayon ang parenting din. And it helped me to understand na talagang you have to adjust, but you have to also listen to them. Kasi sometimes, makikita mo na when they talk from the heart, that hindi para ka saktan or mainis sa kanila, but you have to understand they're saying the truth. That's how they feel, and you have to understand as a mother. So, ang daming talagang learnings. That's why understanding womanhood is really something that has to take place. Maintindihan mo yung role mo because you play a very big part, important role in the home to regain back peace. Kasi hindi mo kontrolado yung outside environment pero kaya mong makontrol yung home environment.
Sige, let's talk about the woman now. Kasi sabi ni Miss Andeline, ang sagot kasi dito is a loving marriage. So a loving marriage equals happy families and equals a stable society. So ang tanong ko ngayon, do you agree, ladies, na loving marriages equals happy families and a stable society? Okay, thumbs up kung agree. Oh, yan. Okay. So, babasahin ko, if simplified, the answer then to the problems of the world is love. Kasi loving relationships, di ba? So, especially love in the context of marriage, from which a family is raised, no? Doon napapalaki yung mga anak, yung pag-uugali nila, doon manggagaling, if it's a loving marriage. So, kung pagmamahal pala, ano naman ang role ng babae? How can, kasi it all begins with the marriage hindi talaga family, di ba? Hindi ka naman nagkakapamilya na may anak ka kagad Siyempre kayong dalawa. So, ano bang role ng babae to have a loving marriage? Mahalaga ba yon? Hindi ba yun yung lalaki? Yung love? Is it really the woman? O Lara, ikaw, tanungin kita. Is it really the woman pagdating sa love in marriage?
Actually, I have to tell you, Palou, when I was in college, I had the very wrong notion of feminism. Sa akin yung ano ko I was in the University of the Philippines when I met this professor. Her name is Mrs. Tupas. She's gone now. She's in heaven. I was her student assistant. And alam mo naman, pag pumasok ka dun sa UP, maraming pwedeng mangyari sa'yo. Pwede kang maging komunista, pwedeng mawala ang relihiyon mo, pwede ka ring matuto in so many ways. And I think it was such a gift na I met her kasi sa akin yung pagiging feminine at the time was being equal to men. And I don't know, when we were talking, bigla na lang sigurong naramdaman ni Mrs. Tupas ni Ma'am na, oops, iba tong si Lara, medyo hindi niya naiintindihan yata yung tunay na ibig sabihin ng pagiging feminine. So she gave me an article and that was the beginning of, wow, an eye-opener that I understood. And she's a professor in English. So can you imagine? Parang tama yung binigay niya sa aking article and that really transformed a lot of things. I saw in that article that the woman has a role. Ibang-iba sa role ng lalaki. So as women, we have to internalize that femininity with the understanding na tayo magkakaroon ng pamilya, we will be raising children, and role natin yun, manganak, no? Hindi naman pwedeng manganak talaga ng lalaki kahit ano pang gawin mo. So that was I think the beginning of it all. And now that I am married, I would have to say that it is really a process, a progress, and you develop into it. Because in the beginning, again, I have to say, parang yung sinabi ni Sally, pag bata ka pa, iba talaga eh. Even the way we disagreed, even the way we fought, iba talaga. Parang hindi mo akalain na pwede mo palang baguhin. Na before, we had a tendency to fight in front of the children, which is not really healthy. It is not good. And thanks to all these parenting courses that I learned na, and I have to remember so much the example of my mother. Never namin narinig ang nanay ko na nakikipag-away sa tatay ko. And later on in life, I realized, Ma, paano kayo nag-away ni Daddy? Hindi ka namin naririnig na nakikipag-away kay Daddy. So we were thinking my mom was submissive, but she was not. They were pala going out of the house, getting into the car, magda-drive, doon na yung bakbakan.
Mag-aaway.
So sabi ko, I have an example all my life, bakit hindi ko magawa? So then again, doon talaga pumapasok yung feminine ways. So it is really the woman who has to set some kind of tone. Because men are from Mars, and tama ba? Women are from Venus. So we're totally different. We have different roles and yun, doon lang.
Lara, ang nakita ko doon, your mom showed her love by keeping quiet. No? By, siguro pinag-usapan nila yung rule, and she followed it. Even if siguro she was so tempted na, no? Na magsalita, she just kept her cool, di ba?
Yun. I also remember one thing, Palou, na shinare ng mommy ko. Which, actually, hindi niya shinare, but we really saw it. She never uttered anything negative against my father while growing up. Kahit na marami. Oo. Love. Kaya nga, kapag nag-isang pamilya mo, you really have to go back to what your foundation was and then see that it will be very helpful. Grabe yung palagay ko, hindi lang love yung sa mami ko, Palou eh.
Martir.
Sacrificial love eh.
Love ka rin.
Ako, guilty ako doon, Lara. Kasi when you're working talaga, parang maiksi ang pasensya mo eh. Madali kang mawala yung patience mo, nakakasigaw ka na. And then, this is one thing na na-confess ko sa mga anak ko, na naging mali ko. Kasi, parang lumiliit yung tingin nila sa daddy nila pag sumisigaw ka. So this is what I realized. Kaya nga, you really have to learn your lessons eh. Kaya sabi ko nga sa mga anak ko, yung aking mga mali, wag nyo nang gayahin. Ang gayahin nyo na lang yung mga changes for the better na ginagawa ko for myself to become a better wife and a better mother to them. So yun yung tama ka, is femininity talaga, yung makakatulong sa atin to put ourselves where we should be. Kanina natutuwa ako dun sa sa Lucky Me, kasi yung woman, yung mother, kept quiet, di ba? Hinayaan niya yung kanyang husband na nagagalit. Kasi kung magagalit si husband at magagalit ka pa rin, talagang kawawa na talaga yung bata. So siguro si Doc Miss, kung pupunta yung parents na yon for counseling, siguro ang sasabihin ni Doc Mitz doon sa mother, tama yung ginawa mo, pero yun nga, ikaw ngayon ang mag-ano doon sa anak mo na pasensyahan mo si papa mo. Talagang as a father, he really wants you to realize na mali yung ginawa mo. Pero andito ako si mama. Yun yung role ng mother, no? Andito ako si mama, tutulungan kita, pero we have to respect si daddy dahil magagalit talaga yon pag ganyan ka. So ito yung ating role, magiging cushion tayo dun sa anak natin. Otherwise, magiging case na yun ng ang daming depression, anxieties, kung si tatay at si nanay, the mother and the father, nagkakaisa sila para pagalitan yung anak. Of course, may mali yung anak. Pero yung mother, as a mother, yung innate natin, yung ng mother, no? Yung character natin na talagang very motherly, na doon nakita ko, sana ang lahat ng mother ganun. Pag nagagalit na si tatay, yung tahimik na siya. Pero in our classes for women, kami ni Palou, sinasabi namin how to, ano ba yung Palou? Yung how can we get our husband to say yes to us? Halimbawa, gano'n, nagalit siya, no? In a fascinating way, in a feminine way, masabi natin sa husband natin na naiintindihan kita, but you have to be careful also with your words, anak natin, lalo na nasa mesa tayo. So ito isang isang mother, no? What we can do to really bring peace in the home. Kasi hindi naman natin respecting our husbands as the leader, the guide, and sa family, talagang hindi natin sa harap ng mga anak, iko-correct siya, no? At ito yung naging lessons ko in life. Sometimes, kukorek ko si husband in front of my children. Kaya nagagalit sa akin yan si Saren at saka si Happy, yung dalawa kong anak. And
So,
that
Sally,
I stand
sorry.
corrected.
Okay, ganito. Kasi we're talking about children, di ba? But how we relate with our children really begins with how we relate with the husband. So, kailangan magsisimula sa husband. So, ito yung paniniwala ko at lagi ko namang itinuturo is talagang kailangan mas mahalin mo yung asawa mo more than, hindi naman more than, but siya ang prioridad. Kaya, hindi niya inaway yung asawa habang nagagalit. Kasi ang asawa niya, ang uunahin niya, hindi yung anak. Diba? So, I want you to view this video. Melo, handa ka na ba? And then let's talk about the woman as the bearer of love. Okay. Okay na ba tayo, Melo?
Your question is, what for you is the essence of being a woman?
I think being a woman by itself, the very fact that you're a woman is a gift of God, which all of us must appreciate. The origin of a child is a mother and is a woman. And a woman is the one who shares love and who shares and shows a man what love, caring, sharing is all about. That is the sense of a woman.
That is Miss India.
Wow, di ba?
Galing.
Alam mo, yung pinakita yan noon. Parang lahat ng simbahan siya ang naging homily. Ng mga pare. Kasi talaga naman, the essence of a woman is about loving, caring, and sharing. Pero what we'd like, of course, it's natural na mother, but what we'd like to emphasize, it should begin with you as a wife. Wife muna. Yun ang mahalaga. Kasi kung maganda ang marriage, magiging maganda rin ang relationship with the children. So, Saren, anong i-comment mo doon sa nakita mo? And being a woman as the, tagadala ng pagmamahal, do you agree?
Agree. Actually,
Agree ka?
oo. Actually, tita, if you ask my two boys, sino ang mas love ni mommy, lagi nila sasabihin si daddy. Kasi 'di ba sometimes the two of them will say, mas mahal ako ni mommy or mas mahal ako ni mommy, gaganon silang dalawa.
Oo.
Pero when they ask me, who do you love more? I always tell them, daddy first. It doesn't mean na mas mahal, pero daddy muna and then kayo. Yun. Sa akin kasi, I think si mama, during the time na medyo ano na ako, nagdadalaga na ako or medyo mature na, I think, that's when she read the Fascinating Womanhood, which kinascade niya sa akin. Actually, wala akong choice. Kasi sabi nga ni mama, sabay kami pumasok sa school, sabay kaming uuwi. Wala akong choice kasi nasa kotse lang ako. So, ang sinabi niya sa akin, as a woman, you should be support ka sa husband mo. Kaya nung nag-support ka in a way na hindi naman palaging yes ka lang ng yes. It's just that you talk about it and then whatever your decision, support mo siya 100%. Kasi that's when, and then when you're unified, when you're mag-isa lang kayo, yun yung papakita mo sa mga anak mo. So when they see that, oy, si mommy sa si daddy isa lang yung sinasabi nila or they're very united and they're very sa kanilang relationship, magiging masaya sila. So, hindi sila malilito na, sige, tanongin mo sa mami mo. Hindi, tanongin mo sa daddy mo. Pag sinabi ni daddy, sasabihin ko, yes, yun na rin yun. Kahit sasabihin ko sa asawa ko, ano ka ba, pwede namang hindi mo sabihin. Pero pag sa harapan ng anak namin, we always tell them, kung anong sabihin ni daddy or sabihin namin, that's it. So, lagi ako, ang ko is susupport ako sa husband ko, whatever ang desisyon niya sa pamilya namin. Sabi nga ni mama, anak, doktor ka. Sabi niya, nung ikakasal kami, make sure na ang sweldo mo hindi mas palaki sa asawa mo. Sabi talaga ni mama yon kasi based on, I think, on her experience, when we were in a place na, syempre, parang, my mom, there was a time that my mom was working, mas mataas yung niya sa bahay, or dinadala niya, or ang tawag doon, yung sweldo
Take
niya,
home.
parang ganon, take home, yes. So, I think yung nangyari is parang siya na yung nagmando sa bahay. So, my dad was taking the back seat and hindi siya for a male eh. I think syempre, their pride was hurt. I saw my dad na hurt siya talaga doon, not for any, and medyo siguro na-resent ko for a while si mama. Kasi syempre, I don't want them, syempre parehas ko sila love, so I don't want to see my dad hurting, and then I don't want my mom hurting. Alam mo yung ganon. So sa akin, during itong nag-may family na ako, yun naman yung natutunan ko kina mama. And yun ang sinasabi niya, anak, support ka sa asawa mo. So kahit kaya mong kumita, mas malaki sa kanya, dapat mas malaki pa rin ang sweldo niya sa'yo. So dapat siya ang support. Ikaw lang ang support. So yun yung sa akin na as a wife and how I give yung mga anak ko. Paano ko sila pinapalaki.
Thank you. Doc, Mitch, ang tanong ko ganito. Kasi for a couple to have a loving relationship, aside from the fascinating womanhood principles, malaking bagay kasi if you understand the personality, di ba? Kasi ako, I knew the fascinating womanhood, no? Pero when I got to know my husband's personality, I stopped changing him. Kasi I'm a very dominant and aggressive woman. So kung magalit din ako, I mean, I'm very intense. And he was so quiet, meek, and mild. And I wanted him to be like me. Yun ang pinaka-frustration ko na parang, lalaki ka, dapat ganito ka. Diyos ko, hindi ba nakakahiya? So, but when I understood ganito siya and how we complemented, oh my gosh, talagang our relationship talaga blossomed. And talagang handa akong maging submissive. Kasi sa loob-loob ko, magiging submissive ako sa iyo? Yung ugali mong yan. Pero, nakita ko, hindi, ito yung strengths pala niya. Yung ganong, then, wow, go. Yung sa clinical experience mo, doktora, pinag-uusapan niyo ba yung personality? So, do you just deal with the symptoms or just the family dynamics? Do you advise the couple to really get to know each other, especially their temperaments?
Okay. Yeah, actually, in psychiatry, that's what I found, I think, very, very unique in our specialty. Maybe that's why I was drawn to it because I'm naturally curious about people. I'm a people person, so I'm very curious about people and what makes them tick. And definitely in psych, like what I mentioned, pinakamahabang medical history yan na i-interviewin mo yung pasyente, hindi lang yung pasyente, pati yung mga kamag-anak niya, the spouse or the parents or the siblings. You know, we take time to get collateral information. The personality, of course, is very important. And like what I mentioned kanina, usually in a family, iba-ibang personalities. So that's where sometimes the conflicts arise. Uh, Sorry, I think I have a delay. Technical. Okay, I can hear myself.
Okay lang. Okay lang.
But you're okay. You're okay here.
Okay. So, what's the role of knowing the personality? I think as mothers, as women, we're very intuitive talaga, di ba? We know our children, we know our husbands, and learning their personality is very empowering because now you know how to maneuver your way around them. When we see people for therapy, for example, not naman in a manipulative way, but you know, paano siya sabayan? It's a diamond. So you have to know how to navigate your way around the different personalities. So when we talk, for example, to relatives and we try to explain where it's coming from, we show them a perspective na ganyan yung personality niya, ganyan siya mag-react. So, very important yung knowing about the personality and knowing how to to navigate your way around, you know, that and what the personality is in the pathology or in the relationship.
Yeah. At saka may I add din na once you get to know the personality, then you fall in love with that man. Parang, ganito ka pala talaga. Hindi ito yung image ko. Akala ko ganito ka. Parang, so the love is deepened because you really get to know who he really is. I mean, your husband, di ba?
Yes.
Tama?
And you understand. From his perspective, there's that you're able to see from his perspective. Doon pala siya galing, like what you mentioned. I think that's every wife's mistake. I'm sure at a certain point that was my mistake as well. Na parang I was raised differently, he was raised differently. Parang feeling ko, dapat baguhin kita kung ano yung gusto ko. There's that. It's very, of course, unhealthy because it will create conflicts, it will create misunderstandings and resentment. And one way to mend that, and as I learned in my own journey as wife and mother, is to understand where he's coming from. And that makes the relationship easier. It made it easier, certainly, when I knew where he was coming from, and vice versa, because he kind of mirrored as well. So yun.
Napaka-importante pa rin talaga yung courtship, courtship, engagement before marriage. Kasi doon mo talaga makikita at makikilala ang isa't isa, no? Like it's still pag when you get married, I believe na it's for keeps, no? Forever and ever. Pero kaya lang ngayon, ang generation ngayon, pag hindi na masaya, divorce na. But if only they see the beauty of being together till death do us part. Kasi that's my experience now eh. Ang dami naming hindi pagkakaintindihan. Iba kasi talagang lalaki sa babae eh. Pero what is important now is you realize, you understand. And as again, what Lara was saying, napakaganda if you're able to live your femininity. Kasi si Saren, when nililigawan niyan, ang una kong tinitingnan doon sa nanliligaw sa kanya kay Iboy, yung pagbubukas ng pinto. Bago yan lumabas ng kotse, bubuksan pa rin siya ni Iboy ng pinto. Sabi ko, ito na yung ano, ito na yung gusto ko para sa anak ko. Kasi nakikita ko talaga na I was thankful na naipasa ko kay Saren yung mga gusto kong mamana niya sa akin. And I see in her na yung feminine traits na dapat ano natin as women, nakita ko na she's able to live it because maybe during those times na nagbabago na ako, yun ang nakikita niya sa akin. No? I really trying my best na kasi naalala ko nun si daddy niya, yung paggalimbawa, lalabas kami, daddy, yung nakikwenta ko, Palou, dad, i-drive mo kami. Sasabihin ng husband ko, hindi mo ako driver. So these things, because it's how you communicate na minsan na-offend sila. So it's really something na maintindihan natin na there's so much in us women to make the house a home. And in here talagang tama si Andeline. If you want to have peace in the world, you must begin at home. And it's through the woman. Kaya minsan, ang nauuna natin is yung mali. But later on, we realize we have to change. And that is where we can build peace in the homes.
Wow, thank you, Sadi. Lara, the woman daw is the king. Ikaw, as a wife, di ba? How do you show that love? Or how do you deepen and strengthen yung love ninyo ng inyong asawa? May ginagawa ka ba?
Yes. Actually, I think for me...
Ano mga ginagawa mo?
Huh? I have to understand, I think, the love language of my husband more than anything. I have the notion in my mind what I want him to do, but I have to understand it, whether we like it or not, it has to be his love language for us to be effective. It cannot be like sweet words, gusto niya. Maybe what he really wants from my husband is really quality time. Time for being together. Yung service niya, that is his love language, that for him, he shows me acts of services at home. Alam mo, Palou, this one, I have to tell you, I have 7, 8 pregnancies. Basta buntis ako, I never step inside. I never go to the market. And it's my husband who has done that all. I also have to tell you that all our trips, my husband has prepared all the luggages of my children. Basta buntis ako or basta may lakad kami trip, I always prepare that one of the baby and myself. It's my husband who does everything. That is his language of love for me. I have to understand. I cannot change that. As like what we have all said, it is not changing him. Mahilig tayong baguhin yung asawa natin. Hindi naman talaga dapat natin silang baguhin. What we can do is to complement them. They have something, we brought it into the marriage, then we complement. And I think one thing that has helped us a lot also, we were fortunate to attend this imago therapy. And in that 3 days of being together, lumalim yung pagkakilala namin sa isa't isa that we have never seen in 25, 26 years because meron pala siyang mga fears and baggage. At the same time, on my part also, I had my baggage, I had my fears, and we never knew that. Parang kumbaga, it surfaced, and when it surfaced, suddenly there was a very clear direction kung saan ko siya pwedeng maintindihan. And all these years, hindi mo yun nakita kasi alam mo yun, the daily grind. That's why it's important for husbands and wives to really date, I would say. Now, it's the pandemic, I told my husband, Kuya Alfredo, wala tayong date. Nakaka-nervous na tong pandemic. Hindi tayo nag-date. Alam mo, the very first date that we had, siguro after 4 or 5 months of no date, we went upstairs in the room, turned on all the lights in the garden para mag-shine papunta ng kwarto. Pagkatapos, we just ordered 2 small vegetarian pizza pie. Trinay namin yun sa kapitbahay. And then that was the first time that we dated. So I told my husband, every time I need to tell you something, or every time I don't feel good, or every time I feel down, I need a date. You have to date me.
Oh, so you're very honest about it, ano? Kasi yung ibang babae,
Yes.
hindi nila masasabi eh. Yung need
I have
nila.
Yes, I have to tell him because whether alam mo, our husbands will also want private time with us because as having 7 children, how can you find time? You have to really say that's why now from the time that we will tell our children that mommy and tatay are going to date, then they understand na okay, mommy and tatay have to have time for themselves. And then my children will ask me, where are you going now that is pandemic? We're dating. We're dating. So I think that's very important in the
Dating, no?
marriage
Oo.
life. Dating
So
pa rin,
so
oo.
far ang naririnig ko sa inyo is really first yung personality, no? Understand that and really get to know the man, your husband. Go on a date, 'di ba? Tapos make him your number one, tama? Number one siya, susuportahan siya, and then ano, tigilan na natin ang ating misyon na baguhin sila. 'Di ba? Kasi hindi siya uubra talaga. Okay. Ako, I did.
Yes.
The moment I gave it up, everything became beautiful. Kasi nakakapagod din. 'Di ba? Yeah, it drains you of all the energy just simply wanting and expecting when in fact it's already giving and you're not receiving and you're not accepting. And that is one of the principles of fascinating womanhood, no? To accept
Yes.
to accept the guy. Alam mo, Sally, sa taga natin dito sa religious program ito, hindi pa tayo nagbibigay ng tip.
Well, ang
Magbibigay
tip
ko yung isa.
natin is,
Yung isa.
meron na tayong binigay, Palou. Ang tip
Yung
natin
isa.
is, we hold the key. Isa
Hindi
sa
pa
tip
yun.
natin.
Pamasko na natin, pwede? Okay. Pwede? Okay lang? O sige. Pwede, Sally?
Yes.
Okay.
Oo.
Number 1, ang lengguwahe daw ng babae, gusto natin marinig na, I love you, I love you. Our husbands want to be told that they're loved, but in a different way. We need to admire them as men. Yan. So, anong i-admire natin? Siyempre, itsura nila. Okay.
Hahanap ka ng ano,
Oo,
ng ma-admire mo.
ma-admire sa asawa ko, legs niya, kamay niya, tsaka shoulders niya. Yung mga ganun. Their achievements, the way they love you. And by the way, this is so powerful. Do not use it to any other man. Kasi they might just fall for you. O, hanggang doon na lang tayo. So, siguro sa Pasko to, ang inyong homework ay maghanap kayo ng pwedeng i-admire sa asawa nyo. Pwedeng physical, pwedeng achievement. Lara, ginagawa mo ba yan? Admiration?
Actually, maganda yung sinabi mo eh. Kasi, many times we will forget. Really, many times we will forget. But now, I make sure, I said to myself, oo nga, when you invited me to this is the secret of all women na dapat talagang malaman nila. So my husband is the one nga who does the acts of services, no? So pandemic, siya lahat nag-grocery, everything. And then when he comes home, I make sure that everybody hears, love, thank you so much for going out and really getting the needs of everyone. And you know, you're the twinkle in the eye of my husband, you'll see. Talagang natuwa siya na he was admired in front of everyone. And it's difficult, ha? I have to tell you, Palou, like when you said, you're the, parang feeling mo, you're a powerful and aggressive woman. Naku po, hirap niyan pag that's the one in your heart. You will not be able to follow talaga what Andeline says. Hindi mo talaga magagawa. Yun lang sinasabi niya, magsuot ka ng mga lace, ng mga attire. Diba? Oh my gosh, lace na attire.
Feminine
Ano ba yun?
dresses. Yeah.
Mga sexy attire for your husband, of course. Naku,
Yeah.
mahirap yan.
Sayang, ano na tayo, time is up na daw, sabi ni Direk, pero marami pa tayo sanang i-share, Palou.
Yeah,
Yan.
ganito. Ito ang regalo namin sa inyo mga listeners. Each of our guests, si Doc Mitch, Doc Saren, at saka si Miss Lara, ay bibigyan kayo ng isang mensahe para really how to have peace in your home. So uunahin natin si Doc Mitch, Doc Sara, and then Miss Lara. Okay, Doc Mitch, Melo, single frame siya. Ready? Yeah.
Thank you for this. This was very interesting, but I'd like to reiterate that the family dynamics is very important. And yes, it does start with us, the woman. Just like what Miss Universe 1994 said, the woman is the one who is capable of sharing and showing love for the husband. And I think what I really picked up from all of this talk, and which I'd like to impart as well, is it's a partnership. Marriage is not a competition; it's a partnership, and really, you should learn to complement each other and know your roles in the partnership. Each of you have an important role to play, and that makes your couplehood empowered. And basically, that's what I want to say. It's very important, the family dynamics, knowing your partner and appreciating your partner, and keeping the peace in the home. So thank you.
Thank you. Doc Saren?
Unmute.
Unmute ka, Sarah.
Sorry. Yes, sorry. I'll just borrow what Mother Teresa said when it comes to changing the home. Sabi niya kasi, if you want to change the world, you go home and love your family. Ganun lang siya kasimple. So if you want to, it's a small, from the basic unit to the whole world, you just go home and love your family, and you will make a better place, or a wonderful world for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Lara?
Yes, thank you so much for this invitation, Palou and Sally. It's really very interesting, but again, we have to end it. I want to share that the best gift I think that we can give to our children and to our families as wives is to love our husbands the best we can. We have to always radiate that happiness, that childlike characteristic in us, that when we met our husband, of course, there was the youth. We still have to continue with that youthful ways we have. And true, we have to be very feminine in all ways. In this, we have to study how it is to be feminine, because there are so many ways by which we can really help our husbands to fall in love with us every single day, so that when the husband and wives are at peace, then the home is also at peace.
Yes.
Oh,
Nako,
wow.
very beautiful ang kanilang mga parting words.
Oo,
Okay,
grabe,
so
words of
Palou,
wisdom. Based on experience yan, ha?
yeah, yes.
So, Sally, pasalamatan mo nga.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully, naka-impart tayo ng maraming values, no, magagandang experiences to our listeners. And yes, it's December. Merry Christmas sa lahat.
Yes,
And I hope
very
to our listeners, next year, January, ang ganda ng ating topic. It's about the dutiful wife.
Yes.
So, Palou
So,
will be...
maraming salamat. Doc Mitch, bye-bye. And Doc Saren, bye-bye. And Miss Sarah,
Yes.
Miss Lara, bye-bye. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so much sa lahat.
Continue your love story.
Yes. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yan. So, Sally, tayong maiiwan dito because we have to explain to our listeners yung ating summary ko lang mabilis. So, mga listeners, understanding womanhood, it's a beautiful gift, no, na ang pagkababae. Tayo ang magdadala talaga ng pagmamahal sa ating pamilya. At ito'y nagsisimula sa pagmamahal sa ating asawa. Uunawain natin sila i-admire natin sila. Pag nakikita to ng mga anak natin, yung ating lengguwahe, yung ating behavior ay kanilang mamamana. No? At they will imitate that. So, how to have peace in the world? By having peace in the home.
Begin at home.
And it begins with a loving marriage. Kailangan mahal ng babae ang lalaki. At pag mahal ng babae at lalaki sa tamang paraan, the fascinating womanhood way, naku, mamahalin tayo ng ating mga asawa. So, anong topic natin again? Sally, next week?
Yes, in January, ang ganda na maging topic natin, Palou, no? It's dutiful wife.
Ano ibig sabihin ng dutiful?
Yung dutiful wife, yung role mo as a wife, mother, and homemaker. How you will be able to complement that with the role of the husband. And again, it will redound to peace in the home and a nurturing environment for everyone. So, exciting uli ang ating topic next month. Okay.
So, maligayang Pasko po sa inyong lahat. Merry Christmas. Lahat kayo na may asawa pa. Mahalin niyo ng katudo-tudohan, ha?
At walang iwanan.
Walang BBQ. So,
yes,
love
thank you very much. Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. See you again next January.
Yes.
Tonight we're running on the right track.